Hi, this is your host, and this is What If. Today's big question: what if you could live forever? No birthdays, no goodbyes, just one long, amazing life without end. So strap in and prepare to find out all sorts of amazing things about how we age and what it would be like if we didn't. If you could live forever, everything would be very different. It would be super weird. It'd be hard to explain to people who died that you are still alive and well, living on a planet that has changed so much since they were around. And why bother learning anything when you won't need that knowledge in the future anyway? Life expectancy is currently about 79 years worldwide. Although there are differences between countries and regions, it varies a lot depending on where you are born. But let's take the average. That means a typical person spends less than 1% of their whole life in school. If you could live forever, do you think you'd want to go to school for 8 years, knowing that you have many thousands more ahead of you? It would be crazy. But that's not the only thing that would be weird. Right now, most places don't have enough energy to power everyone who lives there. Cities are crowded because people keep being born and eventually die, leaving behind empty houses for new families. We're always building more housing, offices, and other structures to accommodate the population. If everyone kept living longer and longer, we'd run out of all those things. After a few decades, almost every apartment and office would be occupied by someone who isn't going anywhere. Even worse, we'd soon run out of everything else too. There aren't infinite supplies of food, water, or oil, but we use them like we will never run out because we're pretty sure we will be dead long before they do. However, if you could live forever, that would definitely change. So would you get bored? If you could live forever, would you grow up and then stay the same age forever? Maybe you're worried that living forever might be boring. Well, I've got some uplifting news for you. According to science, you would probably forget everything and everyone you know, including yourself. If you could live forever, what would happen to your friends and family? Eventually, they'd all get old and die. They'd become distant memories, leaving you feeling alone and with no one to share your endless life with. Well, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. After all, humans have an incredible capacity for making new friends and finding love. Plus, if you had enough money, you could travel to different planets and maybe even find alien friends. Wait, I think I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. First, let's learn how our bodies get old. Aging seems inevitable. As time goes on, we all get older. However, we still don't fully understand how aging works. There are lots of theories and scientists are uncovering more about it every day. Right now, we know that aging happens at a cellular level. Every time one of your cells divides, its DNA has to copy itself, so the new cell gets a complete set. Over time, errors start to creep into that copying process. These errors cause the cells to divide more slowly, and eventually they stop dividing altogether. When that happens, the cells can't repair themselves when they get damaged, and they begin to malfunction. This leads to the symptoms we associate with aging, like wrinkles and slower reflexes. It also makes us more vulnerable to diseases that kill old people, like cancer and heart disease. Aging is also connected to our genes. Most animals have a lifespan that's built into their genes. For example, the average lifespan of a wild mouse is between 1 and 3 years. While a Galapagos tortoise can live for over 100, it seems like these lifespans are determined by our genes. We can't change them unless we somehow alter the way our DNA works. So how close are we to figuring out how to live forever? Scientists are trying to figure out how to make cells divide without copying their DNA. That way, they won't get old and die from repeated copying errors. Other scientists are researching ways to fix the errors that are already in our DNA. Some researchers even say that we don't actually get older, we just accumulate damage over time. If we could remove all the damage, we could theoretically be as young as the day we were born forever. There are tons of stories about magical potions and fountains that grant immortality, but could we really invent something like that? To answer that question, let's look at history for some real-life examples of people who might have lived forever. A man named Li Qing supposedly lived to be 256 years old. That's nearly 9 times the length of an average human life. He was born in the year 1748 and lived through dozens of wars, natural disasters, and major technological advances until his death in 1933. But despite this incredible story, most experts believe he wasn't really 256 years old. There are no official records from any of the years he supposedly lived in, and some accounts of his life are completely contradictory. Plus, It's very unlikely that a person could live that long. If you wanted to verify his age, you could probably look at his DNA and see how many times his cells have divided. But unfortunately, his body was cremated after he died, so there's no way to check now. There are also legends about a group of people called the Taoist immortals. Back in the olden times, Taoist monks sought immortality. They did things like meditate and eat special foods in hopes of living forever. One monk named Zhang Guo Lao was supposedly 800 years old when he died in 1666. Again, these stories are unverified, but they show just how long people have been searching for the secret to immortality. Today, scientists are working on similar goals by studying aging and our DNA. They may not have figured out the secret yet, but someday they might. Now let's dive into some fictional fun. Let's imagine that science has progressed so far that it's possible to live forever. Or maybe you've discovered a magical potion that stops you from aging. Now you have to pick a side. Will you drink the potion and live forever? Or will you stay the same age you are right now for the rest of your life? To help you decide, let's imagine what a world of immortals looks like. Welcome to Neverland, a bustling city full of friendly faces. Everyone here is incredibly nice. The entire population is stuck at the age they were when they moved to Neverland. In the central square, you see a father chasing his kids who are chasing a dog. All of them are 32 years old. Nearby, a couple holds hands. They're both 27, and they met in high school. Across the street, a group of senior citizens play a video game. They're all 68 years old and retired from their jobs. Can you imagine a world where everyone stays the same age forever? Now let's explore this world a little further. You walk down the streets and notice that every building looks the same as it did 10, 20, or even 100 years ago. Why? Because no one's been upgrading them. No one's motivated to do anything big when they don't have to worry about moving on or passing things down to the next generation. You go to the local pub, but you can't order a round of drinks for the table because no one has any money. People don't work for money or recognition. They do things for fun. But they're not inventing new technologies or starting companies either. They're not excited about the future. So there's no point in investing time or energy into anything. You go back home and turn on the TV. Every program is reruns of shows from decades ago. Nothing new ever gets made because no one is interested in creating something fresh. No one cares about anything anymore. They're too busy chasing the newest shiny object, which is always the same as the last one. Immortality sounds like a dream come true, but it's not so great if you think about it. While some people might enjoy having an endless amount of time, it quickly becomes clear that it's impossible to make the most of such a gift. When nothing changes, everything starts to feel meaningless. We don't have to wonder what it would be like to live forever. Take a look around you. A person who's immortal doesn't have much meaning in life. That's because they don't have a limited amount of time. In fact, they have infinite amounts of time. Living forever sounds awesome, but it's not so great if you think about it. Living forever sounds cool, but maybe life is special because it doesn't last forever. Thanks for watching this episode of What If, where curious kids are the ones who ask the big questions. Ask away. We'll find the answer. That's 1 minute. See you next time.